Okay, I'm going to give you a what if scenario because I don't know that Juan has answered your question. Explain how does he actually have a VA loan on every home? Did he refinance to a conventional loan? You do not have to refinance to a conventional loan to have multiple VA loans at one time. VA does not have a limit on how many VA loans you can have at a time. There's only a county cap and an entitlement calculation that has to be calculated to see how much entitlement you have left over after using the VA loan. So let's say for your first house, you're stationed in Fort Benning. You buy a house for $200,000. You live in it for 6 months or a year or 3 years. Then you get orders to PCS to Fort Benning. Excuse me, I think I said Fort Benning, Fort Bragg. So you go to Fort Bragg, you buy a house for $300,000 in Fort Bragg. You have now used $500,000 of your VA loan entitlement. The current county cap throughout the country in most counties is $726,200 for the VA loan. However, there are some high cost areas like San Diego County, Honolulu County, King or Pierce County in Washington. They're all over the country. There are high cost areas. Those high cost areas will give you a higher loan limit, VA loan limit, to access more entitlement if you purchase in those areas. For our story, we're going to say the third house is being purchased in Clarksville, Tennessee. So you use $300,000 in Fort Bragg, $200,000 in Fort Benning, and now you're going to Fort Campbell. What do you have left over? Well, you take the $726,200 minus the $500,000 that you've spent. You have $226,200 left, zero down, to buy a home in Fort Campbell. Let's say you can't find a home for $226,200, so you need to go to $300,000. You are allowed to do that. You have to make up 25% of the difference between the $226,200 and the $300,000. So what we would do is we would take $300,000 minus $226,200, and that is $73,800. You have to pay 25% of that difference. So your down payment requirement would be $18,450 for your third active VA loan. The other two houses you turned into a rental property. This one you're going to buy and you're going to live in it because you're required to occupy as your primary residence. You have to intend to occupy, and you have to occupy within 60 days or a reasonable period from closing. Now, let's say you got orders to San Diego instead, San Diego County, Camp Pendleton or somewhere in San Diego County, instead of Fort Campbell. The VA county loan limit in San Diego is $977,500. So you would have $477,500 zero down to be able to use in San Diego County for your purchase. So this is how you can leverage the VA home loan benefit to have multiple VA loans at one time without having to sell and without having to refinance into a conventional loan. Keep in mind, if you refinance into a conventional loan and restore your entitlement, you can only do that one time in the history of using your VA loan. So you need to make sure that you plan wisely for when you're going to do the one-time restoration. Reach out if you have any questions on this topic.